Welcome to Against All Oddities, the podcast about three brothers coming to terms with the oddly true and the truthfully odd. In today's episode, we drop into the still, pulsing void of Transcendental Meditation. That's right, mantras, the Maharishi, and the vibrational highways of the inner cosmos. But in true AAO fashion, we can't just ohm and go home. We veer off the meditation cushion to share a few ghost stories and also take a hard right turn to Jokesville, USA. And heads up, this is part one of a two-part journey into Transcendental Meditation. In this episode, we'll introduce the practice and explore what drew us to it. Part two will document the results that we have felt after a full month of daily practice. Will we transcend or just transcend? So silence that monkey mind and prepare to plummet inwards. This is Against All Oddities.
Everything's crazy, but it's always crazy, which is why this is perfect. This is going to be a two-parter, and we need to challenge our listening audience. There's a 30-day challenge, and we invite you to partake in it, but we'll get to that later. Hey,
Gee,
we're
just
jumping
go
right
into
into it. Hey,
Yeah, we're already in.
we're in. Welcome to Against All Oddities, where we talk about the strange, the eerie, the paranormal, the scary, the spooky, the sometimes normal, sometimes relaxing, sometimes stuff you just need to try out. Just try it is our forever theme. I'm youngest brother Tim.
Middle brother Chris.
And Nate.
Okay, so outside, we used to do updates. I'm actually going to say we can do partial updates if you guys
I
want.
have two ghost stories I thought would be relevant for
All
our,
right, so
our show.
that's an amazing update. It's just I feel like we're better served just to jump straight to the topic instead. But if y'all have questions about our lives or where we're at, just at dorfyu.com and we'll answer whatever. Or come to our Discord, Against All Oddities AO podcast on Discord.
Our Discord's
Very
doing good.
You
It's
guys have
very
to show
reachable.
me how to use Discord.
I know. I want to show you. I will show you. I'm in Richmond for like
refuse to
one
look
day.
at
I
it.
will.
Until somebody shows me in person.
We'll
I've just
walk
been
you through it.
posting your text messages to us on our Discord. It's like my own.
Yeah, we'll double stuff to you. Plus, you're busy. I don't do social media anymore, but I will do that. And me and Eric Slater are still going back and forth with this remote viewing. And what's awesome is recently, I'll say we both got like some really awesome hits. We do like the same thing. So even if we miss the target a little bit, me and Eric are on the same wavelength with what we're drawing. And for example, I'll say like,
Can you explain? You just said like what we're drawing. You're talking about remote view target testing.
yeah, it's one of our Discord channels is remote viewing practice. And we will post a target that's anonymous, like R267843. And then we'll just leave that up for a while and we post spoiler-free attempts at it. And I'll say on the last one, Eric wrote leaves blowing, felling, vines, grass question mark, and drew some straight lines, pattern, weeds, cross stitch, and then he wrote green orb or ball, and then question mark tennis. So in just in brief, it's like leaves, nature, something falling, grass or vines, and then a ball. So and a pattern. And then I wrote I drew a ball also, but I drew a line coming off of it and then a getting peeled. And I said like pulling a string out of wax or a peeling motion, floral question mark. And I drew another ball with a vine coming off of it. And then my words were layered, outside structure, person facing a rock or a cloth in front of a rock. So what it ended up being was a cranberry bog removal, where there is a giant mesh that gathers the cranberries and they extract them. But just looking at the pictures that were posted, and it's just cool. It's just cool. So come
Yeah, you
check it
guys hit real good sometimes. Other times you hit decently, and like the fact that there's always like a hit is kind of part of the impressive
I'll say
thing.
if we're completely off too, we admit it. Be like, well, this was off. I guess I was having an off day. But so it's anyway, it's fun. Come check us out.
So is that your update? So I do want to do updates because I don't really care if our listeners want to do updates. I am curious about what you guys are doing.
So other than
why we
RV stuff,
started. Yeah, I mean that's fine. I mean that's cool. That's what you're doing. And
since
you're
I
working
ran
in.
my mouth, I will just close that with there's a lot of birthdays this month. And Jack is really, really taking an interest in baseball, and we're going to the batting cage. We're playing catch. He had a game tonight, and I missed it because I'm at work, and he got his first hit.
Nice.
Oh,
Like he actually, he got on base. He got to second. He stole second. I'm getting the live updates. His team won. They're undefeated, but he's finally, his work's paying off. So I'm really proud of him. Evelyn continues into the bizarre with her art, and we don't encourage or discourage it. But I'll say, and I might have mentioned this last time, she was at a birthday party that was a paint night birthday at a church, and she drew a black cat with a sword in its head and blood coming out of its mouth. The sword looked like an upside down cross, and she drew a ghost stealing one of the cat's arms and blood spraying out of it. But there was, I will say, there was a teenager that really likes it when Evelyn does weird stuff and was kind of like giving her attention the weirder she got, so she was encouraged. But outside of that, it's I'm working at the nursing home, I'm working at the hospital, I am listening to Neville Goddard and Manifestation, but I've also taken on meditation, which, surprise, that's what this episode's about. So we'll talk about that later. Nate, what are you doing?
Nate's tired. All
Chris
the
is
time.
tired too.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's funny, although I did make a comment that and it is like with ADHD, I do thrive with chaos, but I feel like there should be like periods of chaos that the ADHD person may thrive in, and then have a period of calm where they can rejuvenate and re-energize for the next phase of chaos. I have been living in an expanded period of chaos, which isn't that healthy. But I will say, you know what, gets me through a lot of stuff, and we could talk about this a little bit with meditation tonight, but it's big with like groups like AA and everything. Like if you're like, and with Mitch Horowitz and the Miracle Club and all that is gratitude, you know.
Yeah.
And one thing about, you know, being around a lot of people is you see a lot of you can see people mess up and see their relationships and other stuff. And when you see that and you have like, I'm just grateful I can dig holes for Mary to stick her plants in over the weekend with not much drama other than like, I don't want to dig another plant hole. And then I end up digging a plant hole and sticking a plant in the hole, right? But it's, I kind of love it. And I just had the best weekend ever with Mary as a reflection of seeing other relationships, like understanding like we have literally no trauma or ever have comparatively to like many other people. So it like really makes me feel good.
That's really funny. We had the exact same situation at work. A coworker is going through with a spouse that's not being very nice to them, and me and Alicia were talking about it, and Alicia started crying because she was actively trying to get life insurance policies on both of us because she said our lives are too good right now. And every time other people's lives are falling apart, she's like, we're drama free, our kids are healthy and doing good at school, and we have a happy marriage. And she's like, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop.
That's
like,
reverse manifestation,
yes,
Tim.
yes, get her to stop doing that.
I mean, or rather it is.
I've talked to her about that, and I said, we're not there yet. We haven't gotten, like, why do you think I'm trying to manifest better? So this is what we have now is secured for the rest of our lives.
Good business term, but continuous improvement, right? Like, and we should all be encompassing that in our lives, which leads into this episode, right?
Yes.
Tim, explain it, because I have prepped for.
Well, no, Chris has to do his update.
I don't have updates except I have ghost stories because first they're both very quick, but I was thinking about them last week. It's like the first off, my house is. I mean, I have a ghost in my house. It's generally not a problem. It's fine, but I've never told anyone this. There used to be a dog that lived at my house. Like, I think the dog lived there in like the 50s or 60s, because the dog bowl is a very depressing dog bowl made of stamped tin. And like,
Is it still there?
yeah, I kept it. I found it under the house, and then when I got the house inspected, the inspector's like, the dog that lived here at some point in this 100 years of the house existence dug up a couple of the piers that the house is on, and because I think the dog just never came inside. And it's in Louisiana, so it was really freaking hot all the time. So the dog would go. The house is on piers, as is all houses in Louisiana, but there's a little wall so that animals other than like cats and raccoons can get in there. But dogs and stuff can't, except for this one access point, which I have blocked off. But I think a dog used to live under there. Long story short, I was playing with Rowan, who's at the head height of the access point where you can look in under it. And he's like looking at their house. He goes, "Dog, dog." And then I was like, "Really? There's a dog under it?" But I know that dogs can't get in there because there's a gate that blocks. I have to remove the gate when I have to go in there and work on the house. And I'm looking over, and I was like, "There's no dog under the house." And he's like getting frustrated with me and pointing. It's like, "There's a dog right there, like doggy." He starts going like his woof woof woof, like he does all this dog stuff. And I was like, "There is no dog here," and he definitely saw Ghost Dog 100%. Because I was watching him like track it. Even it was like kind of wild. And then I'm in Maine right now. Nate's at a hotel in Ohio. I'm at my school in Maine just for a little bit. I have to fly back to Louisiana tomorrow, but I'm staying in that 1700s house, which is haunted as hell. It's farmhouse, like built in 1760s.
That's awesome.
Luckily, my bosses were there this week when we were all up here, so I wasn't like alone in it because it's so creepy. Like, I stay there alone. I do it. It's fine. But the whole time
I would
you're
sleep like a baby in that house.
I'm just like, I'm so tired. Stop walking around. I just want to go to sleep. But I had like a definite ghost encounter the 2 nights ago. I was definitely like sleeping in the bedroom. I'd been asleep or like in bed tossing and turning because I'm a terrible sleeper. And I've definitely finally fell asleep, and I don't get sleep paralysis so much anymore unless it's related to a dead person being near me. Like, the only time it happens. And I was asleep, and I opened my eyes, and this woman walks in. I kind of flinched for a second because both my bosses are women. I was like, someone just walked into the bedroom, and then I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And then I realized I couldn't talk. Then the sleep paralysis starts kicking in. I was like, no, ghost. And I was like fighting the sleep paralysis. And in my sleep paralysis, I kind of roll over and I startle the ghost. Like, it's this woman. It's an older woman. I can draw her face in detail. She's wearing a robe, and she had walked out of the bathroom into the room that I was in. And like kind of got jumped that I was in the bed looking at her, but then I was like trying to wake up and like trying to roll over, and then she was like doing this kind of thing, and then I like unfreeze and nothing's there, and the whole room is like radically different vibe, like different. It's like cold, totally freaky, and I had not had any vibes in there earlier. I was like, God damn it. And it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and then I just had to like, you know, whenever there's a ghost thing, I just try to get super happy. Like, I just try to like fight.
What the vibes like? Push
yeah,
up
I try
the
to
vibe.
switch vibes by like pumping out like good vibes, like as hard as I can. I'm like, oh, 2-year-old babies are cute. I love my little 2-year-old baby, and like I try to like fill up the room with like like creepy dead people vibes, and generally that at least sort of works. But anyway, I thought that was going. I haven't like had a ghost story in a while, but that one was like pretty solid. I don't think I just startled the ghost. She startled me. The vibes in the house are crowded, but not negative. It's like there must have, it's been a farmhouse and a homestead since 1760 something. So, like how many generations of families lived and died there. I don't think anyone's bad. It's just like, it's a busy little house.
Why not embrace the paralysis and like you like to face the fear? Why not like go deeper into the?
I know. That's an interesting strategy. I should try it. Instinctually and reflexively, it's hard because it's like
It's scary because
It's
you
kind
can't
of scary
move them.
because you're losing the. But I agree with you. I agree with you. I should like.
That's your skill set. And
I
if
know
you're
is
frozen like that, instead of fighting it, be like
go in,
succumb to it. And I
go
bet you
deeper,
have like a different
astral like
experience.
projection, and I
Yeah.
think it definitely. I mean, sometimes when I would get really bad sleep paralysis, I couldn't breathe. And that's when it felt very much like an attack. And also, there's also a difference. Like, sometimes it feels like an attack, and other times it's like I'm just in the room. Like, the other weird thing is I realized when I was in sleep paralysis, I was looking at her, there's two little twin beds that were from like the 1920s, and they're very uncomfortable. And I switched beds in my sleep paralysis. So it's
Yeah.
almost like I had, because there's two beds, and the whole time I'm fighting sleep paralysis, I was in the bed closest to the bathroom, and then when I snapped out of sleep paralysis, I was in the bed that I actually went to sleep in.
Like you were actually in that bed?
Yeah, no, I think I like was astrally next to
Just next that you're in the other one.
I
Maybe
mean,
It's
you
like-
could
it's a
sit
really
up.
small room, so it's like I was in a twin bed. There's 1 foot, 12 inches, and then another twin bed, and then this little bathroom. Again, this is like a very small.
I know, but the
apartment.
awareness, if you're in the other bed, you could have just maybe you could sit up and then like go exploring or
Like I
something.
know, I definitely was in the other bed just during that event, and then as I snapped out of it, because it is like a slight like hypnagogic state, I was in my bed, but I was like, wait a second, I was just. And also, what was weird is the door goes to a bathroom. It's a real tiny bathroom, and then there's another door on the other side of the bathroom that goes into the bedroom next to me, which I don't sleep in because I don't like the vibes of that room. But when that whole thing was happening, the bathroom door to that room was open. And when I snapped back, I blicked over to the other bed, and the door in that bathroom was closed, which is how I left it because I didn't want to see into the other bedroom at night. So it's kind of weird. Like I kind of like woke up and she's coming in. I'm like in the other bed, looking with the door open to the other room, and then that's when this weird kind of like weird astral kind of paralysis thing. And I think it's
If it
because
happens tonight, don't fight it, Chris. Like,
I'm
it goes
sleeping in my
forward.
media lab tonight because I have to leave at 3 o'clock in the morning, and
Yeah.
like I'm not gonna walk back to the farmhouse because they have to like shut the farmhouse down, and if I'm leaving at 3 in the morning, I don't want to shut it down. So I shut it down. I have an air mattress in my lab, and then I'm just gonna like blow out of town. Anyway, that was maybe I'll cut some of that out, but like I thought
No,
those
that's
were
cool,
kind of
though.
interesting stories.
Because it's been a minute since you've had like an experience or like been
Yeah, and I also think like we talk about sleep paralysis, and there is this kind of weird. It's not a dream, and anyone who's had sleep paralysis will tell you it's not a dream, but it's not a dream. Like you're kind of in between. And it's like I'm trying to wake up, like I'm trying to unfreeze, but I'm not really in my body, so I can't. So I think it's like something where you're kind of like stuck in between kind of places. But anyway, we're talking about meditation tonight, but not deeply, because what we want to talk about is for the next episode next month. We are all kind of gonna intimately explore transcendental meditation, and so we wanted to kick off this trial with this episode where we kind of talk about like why we want to do it, how we're gonna do it. Tim's been doing it. Nate's about to start doing it soon.
Yeah, so I'm on my second week of it, and I'm going to ask Nate to describe what he's about to get into, and then
But also I want to say, like, David Lynch did recently die, if you're listening to this episode in the future, and so it's also kind of a shout out to him.
yeah,
The
okay. So
biggest spokesperson for TM.
before we get into it, so if anybody's watching on YouTube and I look completely distracted, it's because I am also doing like work. At the
There's
same
a
time, I'm
there's
like
a
talking to
person very sick on a bed in front of Tim, and he's
I am doing
Doing
chest
surgery.
compressions as we are
talking about TM.
talking about that. So I'd like to say that TM is how a Southerner pronounces my name. TM.
Damn.
TM, get over here, bring out the garbage,
Get
TM.
over down here, TM. No, so in brief, it is a type of meditation. There's no religious association or connotation. You're not praying or going to a belief. I mean, you can if you want, I guess, but it's not associated with that. So if you do hold religious beliefs and you think it's a little weird, you don't have to worry about it crossing over anything. That was a lot of people that teach this have to say that like it's okay to practice your religion and transcendental meditation. It's not going to offend one or the other.
No, but I will say,
Oh,
you
it's gonna
know,
offend you. If
it's
you
gonna
try
offend
that,
you.
you're
Don't do it.
screwed. You're
But
screwed.
no,
Well, I guess.
it is rooted in the Vedic traditions, though. So there is, you know, there is like,
It's rude, but it's also like we could go back to the various types after this, but transcendental meditation is a mantra, a non-lexical word or like two-syllable thing like Shazam or something that you say over and over in your head to like kind of like an easy way to clear the mind so you stop having racing thoughts or whatever, and then afterwards, you know, you feel better. And Harvard did a study on this. It comes the guy who brought it to the United States is the Maharaja,
yeah,
who's a
the
yogi,
Maharishi.
and he learned from his teacher, somebody else who I'll look up, or maybe I'll research. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page, but the Maharaja, it was brought to American society through
Maharishi popularized it over here.
Maharishi, but through the Beach Boys and the Beatles, right? And then super
Uh,
popular. Our aunt did all kinds of TM stuff, and
yeah.
Yeah.
it's pretty awesome. You bring some fruit and flowers to a guy and a piece of white cloth, and he'll tell you your secret mantra word. And then you're supposed to listen, do this mantra 20 minutes before breakfast, 20 minutes before dinner. And Jerry Seinfeld, Ellen DeGeneres, all kinds of celebrities do this.
Well,
None
those
of
are a
them.
little dated, but
Well, they're also like not exactly aspirational.
I'd say one that's a newer one that's still. Bill Hader was talking about it because
There you go.
when he was doing writing for SNL, he said it was constant stress all the time,
Yeah.
and so he got into it. But more recently, not more recent, but David Lynch has always been a proponent of this meditation, and he has plenty of videos describing it. And I'm going to try to summarize it in a very brief amount, and I'm probably going to butcher it. But he compared it to scientists studying matter, and matter was made up of atoms, and that's all it was atoms. But then they took a closer look, and there's positrons and electrons and neutrons, and then they took a look at those, and they're made of quarks, and it just keeps going all the way down to it essentially gets to this like energy field. And that creates everything. Everything is made of
unified what was it?
Field theory, but
Yeah,
really
unified field
source.
theory.
I think they're trying to get back to source in this one, man.
So yeah, and then what TM does without you having to do anything is you instead of going down to the atoms and protons and neutrons, just as far as your consciousness goes, and you get into this state, it just goes boop all the way down to the thick of it, the ethereal soup, so to speak, or just that source material, and just swimming in that without even thinking about it. Your subconscious it clears out the bad, and it allows you to have your base set of good. In my
You're
brain,
resetting your computer, just
you're
like
resetting
your computer gets clogged
you're
up.
defragging it.
Yeah, you reset your computer twice a day, it's going to run smooth. Same with the brain.
Right. And so it's been proven it lowers blood pressure, it reduces anxiety. They are using this to treat PTSD with success. There are studies about it. So it is not a spooky thing. You can get spooky into it. Like
I was going to say, make it more spooky for Chris.
All right, so make it spooky for Chris and our listeners.
I feel like I'm talking to you like I would to ChatGPT. No, more spooky.
Make it spooky for Chris. Okay, Chris. Here's what you need. So it's the spooky part of it is by turning off your active mind, your consciousness goes to a place and cleans out your mood, and you have physical responses to it. So really, if you turn off your awareness, your subconscious takes over and fixes everything. It's like
it's like a high fiber brain diet.
Yeah.
So
I have to get something off my chest. Okay, so we haven't even talked about like it's a mantra based meditation. A mantra being like an expression,
Non-lexical word. I mentioned that.
Yeah.
Nick
Okay,
talked
great.
about it.
Okay, you did good. I wanted to ask you guys, but I was kind of waiting for a break. What you think? Because for TM, and Nate can talk about this in a second. Someone gives you a mantra, right?
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, what would be like the worst mantra someone could give you? And
That's a good
uh,
one.
and so I was thinking like skid mark would be kind of funny.
What about fart juice?
Well, so I actually asked ChatGPT what would be the most embarrassing one, and they said chunder.
Thunder.
And I was like, what is chunder? It's like an Australian slang word for vomit. I was like,
Oh,
chunder?
is it? That's chunder.
Chunder
I
is
actually was
so
thinking it was
good.
Australian. The chunder
Chunder.
from down under.
I think mine would be from the Urban Dictionary, fartled, where you at some point are surprised by a fart. You're fartled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you just have to, you're in meditation and you're like repeating your mantra over and over again, I was like
Chunder, chungus.
chunder down under, chunder down under, chunder down under.
Chunder. Well, it should be 2 syllables, right? It'd be chunder, chunder,
So I'll tell you it's
chunder,
not a thing though, Chris, because
chunder.
it's supposed to be a nonsensical word with no meaning to you.
Are you telling me chunder is not a nonsensical
Well,
word?
now it-
Like that's what I mean. I'm afraid I'm gonna go there and the guy's like, it's chunder, man.
So
It's
I'd
chunder.
say no matter what meaning it has or doesn't have, it has too much meaning for you.
Yeah.
You would run with that.
I
Like
heard they give you like 3 options and you pick.
So,
But they are
I
kind
think
of
they
curated.
do a silly thing about your birthday and other stuff.
so I'll
Oh.
tell you, I literally meditate
Very worried
on it,
about this.
and I gave myself one. So
Yeah.
I am curious, and I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. I will.
No, you're not
That's the
supposed
thing.
to. You're not supposed
But
to.
it's 2 syllables. I didn't even know it had to be 2 syllables. I just stumbled across this one, and it's been working for me. And I'll tell you what it's for is this phrase or this thing. If you close your eyes and just wait, it's going to pop up. Stuff's going to pop up. Like what you need to do, what happened,
Yeah, monkey mind.
something embarrassing that you did 20 years ago, what your kid did, what you're supposed to, like it just your mind's racing. And
Or the future of what you have to do, the
Or the
past and
future,
the future,
things.
but never the present. Yes.
So everything that you're doing is constantly flooding it, and it takes over. And then your whole point is just to turn it off. And so this word is supposed to, when you realize that you're doing this, like let's say you sit down and you just keep repeating your word, chunder, 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 but you're not saying it out loud. You're just repeating it in the brain. And I like to say the front of your mind. So when you close your eyes, and if you're a visual thinker or an auditory thinker, it doesn't matter. Just the front and center, whether you close your eyes and you see the blood behind your eyes or images or whatever visuals, and then suddenly you start thinking about your day or work or your chunder, you start your word again, and it whoop brings chunder back and blocks all that other stuff out. And there's another guy that I really like. He does meditation with Raphael. He does 25-minute YouTube videos or
Is he a Ninja
Spotify.
Turtle?
What?
I wouldn't think Raphael.
I picked Donatello.
I feel like Donatello would be more of the meditator. But anyway, continue.
He's too much of an intellectual. Raphael had to learn
He has
meditation to
way
control his
too
anger.
much too. It's true. He does need it the
He's
most.
the one that needs it
He's the
most.
one that gets mad and gets captured by
Yes.
Grumpy. He's a little grumpy pants.
He also out survives a lot of them in the comics. and
Does
things.
he in
Yeah.
real life?
Yeah, in real life he does. So what he does is he doesn't give you a word, but he provides a sound, a lot of sounds actually, and it sounds like he's doing hemisync, and then sometimes it's too much. Like he's doing some new age stuff, but other times he says you grab the sound softly and gently and non-judgmental, and then anytime stray thoughts start to come in, you bring the sound back to the front. And so instead of a word, it's this constant sound that has a set timer of 20 minutes. And it really works. And I will say my approach to it for the past 2 weeks is I try to do 20 minutes twice a day. I can't do before breakfast and dinner, but I wake up at 3 a.m. sometimes. I'll knock 20 minutes out and then go back to bed, or I'll do 20 minutes before work. And then again, on the way to sleep. I have my word that I can use, but I listen to this guy's sounds for 20 minutes. And then I get a lot of crazy visuals, like just my brain's putting it out there, but I don't think about them. And if I start notice I'm getting too much into the thick of it and bringing my life into what's supposed to be just turning my brain off, I'll focus on the sound, or I'll imagine the sound is like a bed that I'm laying in, or I'll imagine the sound is a pillow to hold on to. But these thoughts come in. But the thing is, you're not supposed to force your thoughts out. You let them happen. And there are two ways that I've sort of been letting, even if it's really anxious or important things that you need to deal with, the thought becomes a leaf and the leaf goes on the creek. And for me, the creek is on my property that we own, and I'll just put myself under the water and just the thoughts are leaves, and then they're just swept away as they pop up. And the other one that I do is bubbles. These thoughts are bubbles or clouds that are just kind of in the room. And if there's too many of them and they're too busy, I sort of open a window and they all just sort of float out just on their own. You got to let them happen. It's going to happen. And then you can refocus on your word chunder, or refocus on the like the whatever you're doing. And this is going to be a Tim heavy episode because I've been doing those for 2 weeks. And I swear to God, I feel like I've been on an antidepressant for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I won't shut up. I'm jumping around at work. I'm running around. I'm sleeping better. My patience. Instead of having a short fuse or a regular fuse, I have a super long fuse right now. And I'll just see everything from a bit of an outside window. Like if Alicia's getting really frustrated with something, I'm like, no, I feel all right about this. Like this is obnoxious. It is frustrating.
That's why I want to do it, because like I'm doing fine. I do good. Everything's fine. I'm all right, but I've got like real destruction like this far under the skin. I feel like I'm pretty good. Like I like emotionally, physically, like everything. I'm like doing okay, but it's very superficial. Like I feel like all it would take is a very small thing and it will all fall apart. And so I kind of need it now more than ever. And what I'm going to do is I'm not going to meet with anyone just yet, but I'm going to follow your method, Tim, just while I get into it. And then when I have an opportunity, I would like to maybe meet with someone and take the class and get a word. But because I do need structure like that, so I think I would prefer to actually have a formal kind of introduction to it, but I want to fuck with it first with you.
Dude, it's so hard too. And I'd say out of 20 minutes of this focus, 45 to 90 seconds, I'm actually like in the zone. And then the rest of the time, I'm just trying to fight to just not fight. That sounds too aggressive, but just let the bubbles go. Let the leaves float down the creek.
See, the only type of meditation I had ever really done, it's kind of more of I had a pretty decent meditation practice before the kid a couple of years ago. When I wasn't living with Meredith because she was finishing her dissertation. So I kind of lived by myself. Well, I had a roommate, but like I had like the time and like aloneness that I could like do it. And I kind of came up with my own thing, which was kind of similar, which is I just pictured numbers in front of me. Like, so I would picture the number 10. Like I'd have to visually see the 10. Like I have my eyes closed, but only the number 10. And then once I could physically see it in front of me, I'd make it change colors, red, gold, green. And then once I got it through the cycle of colors, I could make it go down to 9. And then the goal was to try to get down to 0. I could never get really past 5 or 4, but I was starting to get like auditory hallucinations. Like it was getting pretty trippy. Like I was getting like weird, like harmonized voices behind me. Like I had once that was just said, out of nowhere, I actually broke my meditation. I jumped because it scared the shit out of me. It just said peace or something. I was like, fuck. And I got up. I was like, what the fuck? Because it was like harmonized. It was all behind me. It was like, oh shit.
That's it. You were doing essentially transcendental meditation.
Yeah, I think because the more we talk about, the more I feel like I wasn't really doing mindfulness. I wasn't doing this.
You want to explain mindfulness and go through some of the other types of meditation?
Yeah, like vipassana. I've never done. I mean, I think what I was doing is somewhere between TM and mindfulness. But yeah, you guys have been talking about TM, which is mantra based. Like Tim was saying, you're using the mantra very specifically to change your state of awareness, right?
Distract the monkey brain.
All the stuff that's coming in, it gives you something to focus on that is meaningless.
So before we move from TM, Dad told me about this in college, which I do sometimes, but it never really works. I try to do actually a chorus of voices, and it's so hum meditation, right?
Yeah.
So hum is the mantra. Harvard did a study. I think it was Harvard, not Stanford. Usually Stanford does the weird stuff, but I think this one came from Harvard. But they did a comparison from people practicing TM and then their own they came up with, which was equal, but the participants said they preferred the TM mantras to what they gave them. So what
Yeah.
they gave them was the number 1 in out. So you go 1 in out, 1 in out for 20 minutes versus a mantra. The physiologically, the states changed with the EEG and heart rate and everything. They were the same for both, but everyone said they liked the weird word mantra way better than the
I
Harvard
know. I think we're just attracted to like magic words. It's just like,
mystical. But
yeah.
and I did pay the close to $1,000. So later this month, like in 2.5 weeks, I'll go and do the whole thing. And mostly I'm doing it not that I've tried many times of kinds of meditation, but maybe just committing yourself and having the intention of
Mhm.
like, hey, I want a teacher, here's $1,000. Now I'm out $1,000, I better learn. And maybe you're forcing the
Yeah,
subconscious
it's
to
the same
react
thing with
better.
like exercise and like a gym membership. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, I hope it's better than
yeah.
the gym membership because but
That's
they
why
check in on you, right? Like, so and it's not even, and I try to get ChatGPT to do it, but it's not doing a good job. But we'll
Yeah.
get but if this guy, or people or whoever are like, hey, Nate, quit fucking off. It's 20 minutes of your time. It's 5:30 in the morning. I think you can, instead of doom scrolling through
Yeah.
news on Reddit, I think you could take 20 minutes to say a nonsense word and see how
Yeah.
you feel. So,
Yeah.
and God knows I'm stressed enough. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. But that's the TM. But why don't we talk? You want to go through a couple other ones? Because we talked about the Monroe Institute, which is HemiSync, which
Yep.
is the same thing but less. And there are plenty, if you get either the HemiSync or the Monroe app, there's plenty of either non-directed, self-directed meditations, or somebody walking guided meditation where you're counting down from 10 or counting up. They like to count up from 1 to up to 20. And then another one is, we talk about the Silva technique, which is pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And tick, 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 tick. And I was just telling somebody about that today.
Wait, can you
because
just briefly tell what the Silva is? Just in case
the
they haven't.
similar thing. So the Monroe Institute's using 2 different frequencies, right? HemiSync technology. So, you get 4% if it's off, like 100 frequency in one ear, 104 in another. Your little jello brain vibrates at
102 or
the
whatever.
4 or whatever. Yeah, but what happens is it kind of not forces you, but it allows you to go into more of a relaxed alpha state. And the hallucinations, by the way, and everything come from a gamma state, which is what lucid dreaming, I read an article, puts you into a
Is it a
gamma state.
gamma? Oh,
And
interesting.
when I was hooked up to EEGs and stuff at the Monroe Institute, I never really hit gamma hard, but I never had these intense visualization
Visualizations.
and trips and stuff. But the thing is, I can lucid dream like an MFer. So when I meditate within a lucid dream, if I choose to meditate, then I do get that, because I think I'm not ADHD in my dreams for whatever reason.
That's interesting. I mean,
That
because
is
it's not
pretty
your whole
interesting.
brain. It's like this
Yeah,
a
it's
part
like
of your
the
brain.
wake up part, but apparently it's a new type of consciousness is in this new study, and it's almost totally gamma going on, because it's like it takes whatever the theta state and then just hypercharges it with stuff and gives you control, whatever. But the Silva technique, which was developed by Jose Silva and his daughter, continued it, was getting you to an alpha or relaxed state of like tick 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 tick, and you can download this.
This audio that you listen to as
Audio,
well.
and I would say they have several programs, the mind control, and it's heavy on visualization, which Chris was talking about.
Yeah.
And for $100, you get a lifetime membership to every meditation forever. And I did it, and I recommend it because you can go. Mary loves it. That's her favorite one. There's stuff on intuition and all this other stuff.
Nice.
But it's so positive. I really love when you come out of the meditation. We watched a movie not long ago. I can't remember which one, but they mentioned like, it was Pink Panther was in the inspector or whoever, chief inspector, he drove crazy, that shot himself in the nose and all this stuff. his doctor was saying every day in every way you're getting better and better, which is from Silva. And at the end of the meditation from Silva, always every day in every way I'm getting better and better. And then it also says something like whenever I see anyone, I think of them as a mother, father, sister, brother, son, daughter. Because instead of, it's just so positive in society and how greed and fear based we are. If you see everybody as a brother or a son or a mother or daughter or whatever, it's like a little more, you're getting back to that source like Tim was talking about earlier. So Silva's a really good one. Zen is hard. That's like 50 years of trying not to think of anything. Maybe you will. Mindfulness is a little better because it's like, oh, look at that thought. That's crazy. Oh, what the heck is my mind doing to come up with that weird
Yeah.
stuff? Why are
It could
those?
also all be the exact same path, just taking different roads to get there.
No,
or whatever.
100%, Tim. Yeah, 100%. These are just trying to find, and that's the journey. Just like as a little kid, like Jack playing sports and stuff, finding baseball is finding out what you enjoy and what works for you, right? So, why don't we think about the challenge that we're going to have? And you have the head start, Tim, and then Chris will
Yeah.
probably be before me, and I think the 24th is my appointment to start. Not that I don't meditate anyway, but
I
for
don't
this
meditate. I don't know if I'll be able to do it until about I probably won't be able to start until I'm in Maine again, Nate, which is about when you're gonna start. So I feel you and I are gonna be on the same page.
So I highly encourage anybody listening to try this if you're not in the best space, or even if you are, just to do better. Because one, I am podcasting and working at the same time and multitasking, and I feel focused. So I have ADD. I know I do. I actually think I'm on the bipolar spectrum somewhere. I think Nate is too. Chris has something different, but it's still
I got
there.
a case of the crazies.
Yeah, it's like we all got our stuff, right? And I'm not joking.
There's
Like
a meme, Tim. There's a meme I saw that was like, "Hey, 80s and 90s gifted kids, how's that ADHD going?"
yeah.
What's the meme? Hey, this kid's gifted.
It,
No,
100%.
you mean an underdeveloped frontal cortex?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I was the one of all three of us. I was the only one that was not gifted as a child,
Yeah, and
and I don't have ADHD.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, oh my god, they
I
called
mean, I
it.
have a little bit maybe, but not like you guys.
But why
Right.
is this little kid running around? He must be extra smart. No, he's not.
So I'll say my
ADHD.
my ADHD is not any better than it was. My H is actually worse since I've been doing this. But the ADD, seasonal depression, chronic depression, I mean, I know I have that too. And this is not a cure-all. And anybody listening, for a disclaimer, this will not diagnose, treat, or cure any illness that you may have. Please see a physician if you have legitimate concerns. But it's crazy that how effective it's been. That the point I was at work and I was running around and somebody was like, dude, you're in your manic state right now. I'm like, I don't think I'm bipolar, but I do. And it's not whatever. And they're like, well, you got the zoomies. And I actually feel good because I haven't had the zoomies in forever, where you're just running around being silly, but still getting all my work done. And I'm joking with the patients who literally have heart attacks. And I'm like, yeah, how are you doing today? Blah, blah, blah. How about this? And like, I actually got a feel to like just laugh. Some people are like way into it because I'm like, you know what? We're positive today. You're here with a heart attack and you're looking grumpy. Let's be positive about this. It can be fixed. You have an obstruction. They're going to open it up. You're not going to have it anymore. So that's the best thing about heart disease is they can fix it with the balloon. Not many problems are fixed with balloons these days, just birthday parties and heart attacks. And like it
But Tim, isn't that better than going around being like overwhelmed and depressed?
100%. That's why I'm pushing
Yeah.
this. Why haven't I been doing this for years? I've been really trying to get Alicia to do it, and she's like not terribly excited. She wants to, she's interested, but she's like, I just can't. And which is what everybody's saying. Is like, I don't have time, I can't.
Would you like to be happy and have energy and be calm or not? But if you do this, all you have to do is just hit a pause button for a few minutes.
Just
I can't do
try
that.
it. Right. And so another thing is I have to have the noise. I need 20 minutes of noise. I have the word, I have my mantra, but I need to have the white noise. And so we're going to do a 30-day challenge. Me and Chris are doing one way. Nate is doing the professional paid way, but I don't really want to pay somebody to tell me to relax. So I am using my yogis from YouTubies.
To
But
defend the decision, though, like outside of being able to afford it, I will say, like, if you're professional, you pay a teacher to do something, right? Like, I don't think it's a ripoff, like, oh, it's like a culty thing to get this money. The only way the center exists is from, donations to do that. So if it's a good and a service, right?
no,
So
I get it.
you're
Like
paying
the
for something, I'm gonna do it.
meditation
Yeah.
with Raphael, he has a Patreon, and I understand why, because he's putting a lot of time into this, and he could benefit from the compensation, and he'd put out more content. But what we're going to do here at Against All Oddities is I'm going to tell you a joke that I made up that has nothing to do with meditation. And then after that, we are going to give our listeners their first 20 minutes transcendental meditation. I'll say if you're driving, just pause it, do it
Keep
later when you
driving,
get home.
just zone out, put it on cruise control.
Yeah,
You'll be
just
all right.
start swinging
I
wildly
feel
left
like
and right.
this is the point where I have to do something with editing.
Chris will be doing something with editing, but I will guide you. I will send you links because I have an idea of how to do it.
Every once in a while, Chris will add a beep, 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 beep as you cross a lane.
like a Xena, the warrior princess.
Yes. So, and then if you can do this every day for 30 days, we are going to check back in June with how we're doing with meditation 2.0. And we'll have more jokes and be funnier about it. So before we get to the provided guided meditation for our listeners, do you have anything else to say to wrap up, or any spooky cryptid stuff or jokes?
But we
Look,
never actually talked about cryptids. I feel like cryptids is kind of the final frontier for us. Like,
there's a
it's
Venn
not really
diagram.
not
It's
really
on
my
the same
thing.
Venn diagram as us.
I think like the whole Joshua Cutchins thing, like, they're all the same thing, man. Cryptids, aliens, ghosts. It's all like kind of interdimensional, like high strangeness, right?
Yeah. And again, so follow us on YouTube, come join our Discord, hit like and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, you can leave us a comment. If you're on iTunes, you can leave us a review or a comment. Why don't you do us a solid and just...
You know what I don't like about the Apple podcast is you can't see our cover art. So if you listen to this Apple podcast, you don't see our cleverly AI generated cover art. That's why I like Spotify. You can see that.
I deleted
Apple.
I deleted iTunes. I don't use it. I only use Spotify or YouTube.
Yeah, I mean, fuck Spotify, but that's all I use to listen
And
to.
how can you get to the tuning?
It's,
I do the I like thinking about historically, and if it were like gross in the 12th century or something, I would want to be a monk.
Yeah.
It's not just like a Shaolin monk or something. Again, you think of all these Zen, calm, awesome warrior people, and the scientists at the time, if were a lot of monks because they actually had peace and time, quiet in the mountains to come up with like genetics and all the other advancements that they made by not like drinking poo water with the peasant and getting run over by noblemen or whatever. But and so I think at that age, if I lived in that time period age, I would want to be a monk, or like because just like prayer is also another way, by the way, to do that. So if you're doing think about, we're Catholic or grew up Catholic, but if you think about the rosary or something, is kind of the same way. By the time you get through all those Hail Marys and Our Fathers on a rosary, guess what? You've just done, if you do that twice a day, that would be another challenge you could do to get through it because you're doing the same thing. You're doing a chant. And again, like if you were back in the day, I would be a Gregorian monk, and I would today, like in the 90s with Enigma.
I was going to say, there's immediately Enigma started playing.
But here's the thing, I would have, because Enigma, I wanted to be a Gregorian monk, but I never got the chance.
We've said that one.
Oh man, Nate.
I know, but I like it. It's solid. It's good.
That was such a slow burn. That took me so long to figure out what you were talking about.
I remembered it.
You really kind of sped into that one, like kind of like you're like, and here's the joke. That's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah, it was too slow. But for on a serious note, like the rosary is the same thing, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like
it really is, yeah.
Or whatever, right?
So I was at work the other day and I had my zoomies and I was bouncing around. And I don't know I'm still working. If anybody has noticed that I work with heart patients, and so we all round and we sit down in the beginning, and then they were asking me some serious question, and I wasn't being serious. I was like, "Hey, do you know an area in New York that has the lowest average LDL cholesterol? Staten Island, because statins lower cholesterol. Anyway, so anybody that's ready to meditate, come join us right now. Put your headphones on. If you're not, pause it, stop driving, pull over, put your headphones on the side of the highway, get a quick 20 in. So it's better with headphones, and it's going to be a noise. So I'm going to give you instructions, and we'll walk you into it. So what this is I'm going to go through the instructions, and then Chris is going to provide a sound that's going to last about 20 minutes. And then after that 20 minutes, I'll come back, and then we'll kind of chill out. And if you want to do that twice a day, come visit this episode twice a day, or go find a similar thing. I highly recommend it.
Hey Tim, should we lay down or sit in a chair?
Exactly. So here's the thing.
No, but should I sit in a chair or lay down?
Whichever one, it doesn't matter.
But I just don't like puns about chairs. They don't sit well with me.
I'm glad we got some funnies in, because we really didn't have a lot this month. So thanks, Nate. I appreciate your efforts there.
It's just like, can you fall asleep? Because I don't want to sleep in late. Like Greek citizens always sleep in late. Because dawn is tough on Greece.
Yeah. Dawn is tough in Greece.
All right.
Okay, so we're gonna play our outro music. That was our jokes, and then we'll go into our meditation. If you don't want to listen to it, we'll see you next time. If you do, join us.
Join us. Okay, so I'm going to jump right into it. You need to get into a comfortable position that you don't have to worry about adjusting it or anything. I'm not saying lotus position or whatever. You can be sitting on a couch, leaning against something, whatever, laying on the floor. You can be laying on a couch or your bed, just whatever's comfortable, something that you feel like you could stay in for about 20 minutes in a relaxed state. And so in just a few seconds, a sound is going to be introduced. When you hear that sound, you don't have to think about it. You just sort of accept it, get near it, let it into your mind and be what you're thinking about. If thoughts come, that's okay. They will. Just see them as a leaf on the water, and let them float away. You can stare at the leaf. You can pay attention to it if you need to, but just let it pass naturally as it would, just clearing a thought. And so this 20 minutes, just hold the sound into the front of your mind. And if you find yourself, it's okay to stray into the thoughts. That's fine. Just when you notice that, reach back for the sound and hold on to it. And then bring it a little closer. And then just try to just accept the sound as what it is that you are thinking about. In total just relaxation, and just roll with it. we're coming to the end of the 20-minute session. It's okay to start wiggling your fingers and toes and come out of it slowly. You can sit with that noise a little longer if it was something acceptable to you, or if you found it to be pretty relaxing. You can blink your eyes, stretch a little bit, and then go about your day. Just try to be positive about it, and then do this twice a day, and you're gonna get the chunder zoomies like me, Chris, and Nate. So don't forget, if you have need of a mantra, chunder, chunder,
Chunder,
chunder,
down under.
chunder, down under.